So so yeah, cupboard dwellers. We've been quite lucky, well, very lucky actually, this week in trying to get news articles to fill the news section for our pangolin special in celebration of World Pangolin Day. I stumbled across a news article from Prague Zoo, which contains huge good news, and that is that they have welcomed the arrival of a newborn baby Chinese pangolin, which is well, we'll get into how important that is in a moment. But we have with us here in the cupboard, honoured to have him join us, is Filip Mašek, spokesperson and press officer for Prague Zoo, who's here to talk to us about the newborn and what that could mean. So firstly, Filip, welcome to the Natural History Cupboard. Thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. Like, we're happy to share the news with everyone. So yeah, I'm very thrilled.
It's very exciting news, and I think all three of us are keen to get out to Prague now to come and see it. I will kick things off. So my question is, working with endangered species, as all four of us here will know, it's an incredible honor. But pangolins are one of those species that are on another level entirely. They're the most trafficked animal in the world. Their survival hangs in the balance. What is it like for the team to work with such a special animal in the zoo? And is there a particular pressure involved with such a special animal?
Well, first of all, it's a huge commitment. It's a really a big thing. We have been focusing on pangolins for a few years now, because we have a project in Africa, in the Central African region in Cameroon. Wow. It's called the Wandering Bus, and we try to teach local children about the importance of the nature preservation. We actually organize excursions for the kids, field trips, so they could go and actually see gorillas, for example, for the first time, because us in Europe, for example, we have this idea of, I don't know, Africans meeting the gorillas every day or something like that. But the truth is, they actually have never seen a gorilla in their lives. They just know it as bushmeat, for example. They just know it on their plates, specifically in Cameroon. And the same with pangolins. It's the same story with pangolins. So we have been focusing on the African pangolins for a few years now. And the project there is actually quite successful. It's been running for 10 years now. Actually, it's the anniversary of the Wandering Bus project. But it's impossible to keep the African pangolins. We were trying to get them to the Prague Zoo, but it's diplomatically and zoologically, it's very hard to keep the African pangolins. So we started focusing also on the Asian ones. And since there was this sort of a diplomatic background when the Czech Republic, or rather say Prague, the capital, sort of ended a contract that we had with Beijing, with China. It wasn't very good diplomatically with them. We sort of cut some relationship with them, but we started forming relationship with Taiwan, which China didn't really like, of course. So the first plan was to get the giant panda, and sort of instead of the giant panda, the Prague mayor was heading to Taiwan, and he was asking, hey, you know, what can I get there? Like, is there some sort of animal that I can get in Taiwan? Isn't there something as interesting as panda? And our director, Mr. Bobek, he actually asked, well, maybe you can ask about the pangolins, but it's probably impossible. But since the Taiwanese were actually so happy about the contract that we made between our sister cities now, Taipei and Prague, they are basically the fruits of the diplomacy, the two pangolins that we got. So we got them last year in April. We got a pair of them, of the Chinese pangolins, the female Run Ho Tang, and the male is called Guo Bao. And we got them directly from Taipei Zoo. And just the arrival of those two was a big thing. We did a big opening in the zoo. We invited a lot of people. We had the whole Pangolin Day. Maybe you can notice I'm actually wearing one of our
That's an awesome shirt.
Yeah, we did.
Fantastic.
We did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, when you come to Prague, you can get it here. And so we did. It was a big thing already, but no one expected that the baby would come so soon. So yeah, so it's a big commitment. It's sort of fruit or blossom of a long journey. It's not just like that, but it took a lot of years, and now the patience and the dedication is really worth it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Amazing. So yeah, so we understand that the pangolin pup was born at about 4 a.m. Could you talk us through what that was like for yourself and your team? How did you guys feel when you first saw the newborn, and what did you have to do also as well upon that discovery?
Well, since it's the flu season in Europe, all the mammals, they have to be really in a pristine conditions. We wear the masks when we go to the gorillas, to the orangutans, to all these mammals who can get the COVID, or not just COVID, just a normal cold or flu can cause problems. So with the pangolins, it was we were very cautious. So we did regular checkups all the time, but it was very hard to specify the date of the birth, because our main doctor, the main chief of veterinary, he actually said that we could expect the birth between the 15th of December and the 15th of February. So those are 2 months where you could expect it any minute.
Yeah.
And we were really like shocked, but he said, that's the know-how we have. That's how little we know. That just demonstrates how little we know about the pangolins. Although it's the most trafficked mammal in the world now, and they face extreme dangers both in Africa and Asia, we just know so little. So since already before Christmas, it was very well, you could say stressful for some of the zookeepers, because they were constantly checking the camera if something is happening there.
Absolutely.
They were doing the ultrasound checkups all the time. But it came in February. It was the 2nd of February. So now we speak, it's about 2 weeks old now. And it was in the night, but the birth itself was actually very quick and very unproblematic. It took about 8 or 10 minutes, the whole thing.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's this fragile little thing. And it's of course, you have to be extremely cautious. You have to be extremely careful. But our zookeepers team, we are one of the biggest zoos in the country, and one of the top ranked in Europe. And I'm very, very proud of our zookeepers, and they have my absolute faith that they did everything right. But yes, I know that there was a lot of pressure on them, of course.
Yeah, no. Well, to do everything right under all of that pressure. Well done them. Well done them.
Yeah,
definitely.
And yourself as well, all of you guys.
So the birth itself is very much a first for Europe. As we mentioned actually earlier in the podcast, since the late Eocene period, have there been pangolins breeding in Europe, and the parents hadn't been together long at all. In fact, under a year. You said that you must be very proud in just having that instant connection with them, I suppose, to get this.
The truth is actually they were together in Taipei Zoo already. So we had this advantage that we got a pair that actually already had a baby, already had a pup a year ago, or not a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. So they are already experienced parents, you could say that. But when it comes to a fragile species like this, it's always a big thing. So, but we did have this small advantage. So we were kind of hoping that they would reproduce again. But again, we took them from Taipei Zoo to Prague. It's halfway across the world, and we created, I think, great exhibit here for them, or great exposition. But still, it's new. It's a new environment for them. It's new people taking care of them. There could be some changes in the routine. Although we communicate with Taiwan all the time, and we communicate with the colleagues from there, it could be a slight change of the daily regime. It could be something different with the food a little. That could change a lot. So as I said, we are just so excited about this. We are so happy that it came so fast. We got them in April, and in February the next year we already welcomed a pup. Yeah.
Fantastic.
This is great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we've kind of already alluded to this in this conversation, but why are they so notoriously difficult to breed in zoos?
Well, I think it's the two main factors. One of them would be the conditions we have to keep them in, especially the humidity. I think they require this very precise level of humidity that sort of changes during the day, according to how it changes in nature in Taiwan, for example. So that was very hard to actually reconstruct the whole exposition, the whole pavilion, the house, according to these needs of the pangolin. So that was one thing, but maybe even more difficult or the harder way or harder thing to come up with was the food, because they are specialists when it comes to food. They feed, as you probably know, and the listeners probably know, they feed the termites and some sort of ants and insects.
Absolutely.
But it was impossible to keep them in captivity for decades because they just wouldn't accept the food. Because people would give them the same food as they would give to anteaters or armadillos or like these sort of close species. But the fact is that they require something completely different. So we got a recipe for this sort of mash. It's sort of like a porridge kind of thing. It's just mash that has a lot of components in it. The main component is the bee larva. Basically the larva of the male bees, which is also very specific, of course.
Very specific.
Yeah, and I think we get that somewhere from Germany, which is just across the border. There's some sort of supplier that supplies us with these bee larvas, which is very strange, of course. But thank God we got the supplier. And so then the Taiwanese, they would give us their recipe, their know-how, and it's actually secret. We can't publish the recipe, but I can tell you it has about 30 different components, which are very carefully measured, and they had to be mixed fresh every day, twice a day, because we feed them twice a day, 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon, and it has to be prepared on the spot each day. So, and just the whole preparation of the portion for the 2 pangolins, or now 3 pangolins, it takes for about 45 minutes to 60 minutes. So, so it's just to prepare the food for them. It takes 2 hours a day.
Wow.
Very specialist diet there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You could say they're like snobs, you know, when it comes to food, or they're very picky.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, the next question, I think all 3 of us probably have, or sorry, all 4 of us have a sort of opinions on, but it's always nice to get someone in this field's sort of opinions on this. But how important would you say that zoo captive breeding programs are in safeguarding endangered species like a pangolin?
I think it's crucial. I think it's extremely important. Well, a lot of people, of course, come to the zoo to see the animals, to see the top 5 animals they like, the polar bears, or in our case, it's the polar bears, it's the gorillas, it's the orangutans, maybe the elephants, and then they go home. And that's you know, the majority of people. I think, maybe I'm underestimating them, but I think. But then there are people who are actually seeking knowledge. They're looking for information, and it's very important to inform the public about the purpose of the modern zoo, because it's not a circus, it's not an animal show, it's not a zoo as it was 50 years ago. You know, a modern zoo should definitely focus on that. And that's what we've been trying to do since the beginning of this century already. We have a lot of projects when it comes to the gharial in India. We have a project for the wandering bus, for the gorillas and the pangolins in Cameroon. We help to reintroduce the Egyptian vulture to Bulgaria, which is very successful. We have a lot of these projects, but a lot of these projects, they focus on animals that people know, that the public they just know them. You know, they know gorillas, they know vultures. But like the Czech public, the European public, they actually don't know about pangolins. They've never heard of it, most of them.
Yeah.
So when it came to these pangolins, our main goal was to introduce this species and the threats that they face in the nature to the public. So the pair of pangolins we got, they are basically ambassadors of their species in a way. They represent all the pangolins in the nature, and they are here to tell people, to tell their story, and to raise awareness, and to just bring the spotlight on them. Which I think, when it comes to the Czech public, we are a small country of 10 million, so it's just a small country in Europe, but it's been successful. I think there's almost every Czech person now knows what a pangolin is.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a really good answer. Really good answer, Philip, as well. Perfect.
So what are the next steps for this baby and its development, and when can visitors expect to see it?
That's the big question. Yeah.
That's the one that I imagine a lot of people are probably going to be asking, is when can I go and see it?
I already answered this question a few times today, just well, first of all, the pup is doing fine, but it's doing fine now. When they started to feed him with a substitute, or I don't know how to say it in English, with a substitute milk, because the mother doesn't produce enough milk for it. Which is sort of a good thing, because the worst scenario would be that the pup is, refusing to feed or is doing bad. But since it was born actually so late, as I told you, it was expected between December and February, and it was born in February. It was born pretty big actually, and very strong. So that's a good, it's a good sign. But the truth is that the mother just doesn't produce enough milk to keep it healthy. So it wasn't, there wasn't much increase of the weight in the first days. So we started consulting everything with the Taiwanese zoo, and they recommended this special formula of the substitutional milk that you can give it to it, and you can feed it, and that has been very successful. So for now for like last 5-6 days, there's the weight increase monitored like every day, like every
Lovely.
time actually, it's getting bigger. But since we have to be super careful now with this, when it comes to this, I think my guess would be that the public will see it in the end of March. I think it would be more 6 weeks.
That's not bad.
That we will keep the exhibit closed now. It's closed for visitors now. People can see the male, the guobao, the male pangolin, but the female part with the baby is closed. But my guess would be March, April. But that's not the official statement of the zoo. The official statement of the zoo is that we will inform about it.
Yeah. Lovely. Oh, well, that just about wraps it up actually from us. Thank you very much for your time, especially at such late notice, because I think it was Thursday that I contacted you, and you've just been extremely accommodating. So really grateful to you. And I think I speak for all of us and our listeners when I say that we wish you the best of luck. And we really look forward to following this little pangolin's progress.
Thank you very much. Definitely. Thank you very much. I hope we'll stay in touch, and we can talk some other time when we know more, when there are more videos, more photos, when the baby, eventually it will start riding on its mother's tail. So so that's something that the visitors expect, of course. So we can stay in touch, and we'll talk later.
Wonderful.
Amazing. And we'll definitely come and see it, even just to see the adults.
Such a rarity. To come to the Czech Republic, Prague is great, and the zoo is basically in the center, and it's a popular tourist spot, and you're all very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day. Thank you.